Hi, everyone. Thank you, and I'm glad to be here. So, I, I guess for today, what I wanted to share is my own entrepreneurial journey, which perhaps some of you can relate to, and how eventually it led me away from just focusing on money to actually focusing on the environment and on the people around it, right? And I believe immensely that business has the opportunity and the potential to wield a lot of positive power and positive impact if we know what to do. So in the next couple of minutes, I just want to share a different perspective on how things have changed in my life and how hopefully it triggers some ideas in your own so that uh, you can also move towards sustainability and inclusion, right? And especially today with the world starting to rebound from COVID, the question really is how can we create positive impact? I was sharing earlier in our group that we had just come from Mindoro, and the town was really hard hit. 70% of the revenues from tourism, 90% of their food comes from outside the island. COVID is a recipe for disaster, right? And it's something that we all need to be more mindful of. And yeah, there are several issues plaguing us, right? And so, just to share, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, the initial purpose that I had in life was to create a lot of wealth for myself, right? Profit driven in that sense. And so there were several ways that I tried to do that, right? I tried working in a multinational, Johnson& and Johnson. Excellent company, great systems, but I felt like I should try something else. And so thus started the process of trying to do different businesses like buying and selling cars, right? Or fashionable bags made out of vegan leather. They would harvest water lily for this. It's still around, so they're good products. Jacinto and Lirio. We also tried producing theater musicals, but that didn't work out very well for me. We also tried buying and selling vegetables in 2009, before all the apps came out, right? Farm to table wasn't really a big thing back then. And also tried a travel company that also flopped, right? And then finally, there was this purple yam jam or ube jam that we tried to imitate the Sisters of Good Shepherd in Baguio City in the Philippines. Very difficult product to really perfect, and so that didn't work out as well. So after those six trials and the six errors, I finally, and this is more than the average entrepreneur, since most entrepreneurs get the sixth right? Finally ended up in a business that I really liked, that allowed me to fall in love with the environment a bit more, and that was the Circle Hostel, right? And we had several branches, although only one is really alive now. Only the one in La Union for now, right? So, yeah. And so living in the countryside in Zambales, absolutely stunning and beautiful place with oceans, with a great sea and the mountainside. This really was the jump off point into how we would how I would connect better with the environment, right? And I just wanted people to try to guess. The Philippines is the blank biggest plastic trash producer in the world. Is it the third, the 15th, or the 50th, right? And if you guessed number 3, the third, then you're correct, right? So you have a lot of trash coming in and out in different rivers. You also have a lot of plastic in your fish, right? And we got very exposed to this because spending time by the ocean was really something that allowed me to see firsthand how much more trash started coming in, right? And it was admittedly through tourism, right? And that's why we have to recalibrate how we fix our tourism, right? And it's gotten worse over the last couple of years, to the point where there are microplastics found in 90% of all bottled water around the world, right? So you can Google that. It is a scary story that has been overtaken by the COVID narrative, but it's something that's still there and something we'll have to deal with eventually, right? In the Philippines, specifically, salt samples have tested for microplastic content, right? Plastics don't biodegrade, and so if we are ingesting them, then that's not something that I would want for my nieces or nephews, or you wouldn't want it for your kids, right? So just to share, one of the challenges really is the mindset, because plastic in itself is not evil, right? And one of the things that we really have to reconsider is how we use it. In this photo, everyone's dining in, but everyone's still using takeout stuff. So it still happens today, even with the limited dine-in, right? So something for you guys to think about, because we don't want plastic in our salt. We don't want plastic in our fish. We don't want plastic in our water in that sense, right? And I do believe the next speaker will be able to give even more interesting perspective on the trash, right? So what do you think happened to the sales of our resort in Zambales when our beach got dirty, right? If you're guessing that it went down, that's true. We did take a hit. Personally, I stopped going to our beachfront because it was painful to see it very dirty. And we did try to clean it, but a lot of the tourists didn't really care. And so even if we had an environmental police going on, talking to the mayor, it was very difficult to operationalize, to implement, right? And so the law is one thing, but we really still have to attack the mindset of people. They need to understand why, right? So one of the things we did was eco-bricking, right? But what I'd like to focus more on in this presentation are actually different solutions that people are doing, right, around the country. And not just around the country, but also around the world, right? And here in this photo, we actually have organized data collection and immersion programs so that people can experience the problem to make it more real. And in the next, and then I want to just show what that looks like, because we can also facilitate waste workshops, right?
That's non-biodegradable. So you're trying to tell everyone, grow your own food.
Anyway, that was just one way to do it. That's done in Lighthouse in Subic. And the feedback of that program was actually very good, because some of the travel agents and tour operators who were present and the hoteliers were also very shocked at the situation, right? And it was their first time to pick up trash. So makes them more mindful. Now, I want to show you very innovative solutions of how you can integrate your own business model, integrate sustainability into your own business model through the way you buy things or through the way you consume things. And so the following videos are proposed solutions that I hope you guys can shop from, and maybe you can start working with these companies, right? So the first is Green Ants Builders. So they're based in Metro Manila, and Green Ants is one of the award-winning companies in the Philippines, and they do really good waste upcycling. So here's what they do.
Kailangan po magpulot ng basura para po hindi na po maging sanhi ng mga pagbaha po. Yung basura po pwede maging bahay. Nakakatulong pa po tayo sa ating kalikasan.
So that's widely available. Hope you guys can connect with Green Ants. Very, very good product. And they do have other innovations. From what I know, Ayala, some of the Ayala construction development companies are already using some of their products. So definitely, please do consider, as they're immensely durable. Right? Here's another creative way to encourage people to pick up trash. And not in Japan. They made it easy to want to pick up trash. So all these trash outside trash. Is that a feat? So that's in
The
Japan.
environmental crisis
This one
is a
in
problem of
the
the
US,
youth.
right? And it's a
The
concept
youth is going to be
by
the one who has to
Jaden
heal this
and
problem.
Will Smith.
How are you guys doing? Fantastic. You guys seem to be very, very excited. You don't have to be quiet. It's okay. My name is Jaden. I'm here today to talk to you guys about sustainability. Sustainability to me is doing and making the right decisions so that we can have a better world for tomorrow, that our kids and people in the future can live a life where they don't have to worry about their air quality or their water quality or the quality of their energy. This bottle is 80% made out of renewable resources, which means it's not made out of plastic. Before, we were at 50% renewability, and it was just this being paper, and then we moved this to being sugarcane, and we went to 80% renewability. I've brought some bottles of water for you guys to try, and there's enough for everybody, so do not worry. Here we go. It's really great to meet you, sir. You can create things with your trash. You just use that genius brain that you have up here, and you can create something that we didn't have yesterday. Would you believe me if I told you that this table was completely made out of upcycled bottles of water? And it's fully recycled out of just water bottles. 100% table. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So this is for you guys. The point of it is for you to understand that you can take trash and you could create something new. Eventually, every single one of you in this room will grow up. And you guys will be full-fledged adults, and you guys will be capable of doing all types of things in this world and creating positive change for people across the globe. You guys are the best and brightest thinkers in the world. You guys are at the forefront of humanity. Stay inspired, stay creative, stay genius, because that's what you guys really are, okay? Awesome. See you next time, and listen to your teachers.
So that concept is from the US. We also saw something from Japan, and there's another one in the US that is also quite innovative. what they do is they take old plastic and they use it for clothes, right? So again, we need a plethora, or as many solutions as we can, because the problem is all around us.
When we looked at the ocean plastic pollution problem, we came to one key idea: to turn ocean plastic debris into an asset, to turn it into an amazing material for the fashion industry, something that is sexy, something that has a story. We found Bionic Yarn and realized that they're the perfect first partner because they can turn low-grade plastic into a high-profile material.
I need to give back to the place that's responsible for giving me this life. Bionic Yarn was a way to tie. There was a way to give back to the universe.
Bionic Yarn is a yarn spinning process that takes recycled plastic bottles and turns them into a high-quality yarn and fabric. We take a plastic bottle, we shred it into flakes, melt them, extrude them into fibers, spin them into a yarn, and then helix them with another fiber, like cotton, to create a surface over the recycled plastic. And we decided we should really try to address this issue of plastics in the oceans.
Everything has a purpose, even trash, and we should be accountable for everything. The basic idea is to synchronize the economy and the environment by pulling out the plastics from the ocean, keeping it on land, and making it into products that we could use. And G-Star's kind of been on the radar for Bionic Yarn for a long time.
G-Star decided they wanted to get involved, and that becomes something interesting. That's when you get 1 and 1 makes 3.
Role for the Oceans is a collection of...
Right, so again, that's another innovative way of really going after the trash, right? And yeah, if you can buy clothes that use upcycled plastic, please do. You can also do that with shoes. I know that Adidas has their own and everything, right? These aren't paid advertisements. I'm just saying we really have to be more mindful of how we spend our money, because we're consuming things, right? So just circling back, like while living in Zambales, the other thing that really made me very mindful of the environment was the mountainside, right? So after surfing, which we would do at the hostel, we'd go around, and one day we just wanted to trek, and we happened to visit this area where we saw a very denuded mountain. I hadn't studied the environment back then, so I thought that it was absolutely beautiful. And in the end, I took a picture, posted it, and people started commenting. And what we found out was something surprising, right? So quick question: how much virgin forest do you think the Philippines has left? Right? Is it 70? Is it 30? Or is it 3%? Right? If you guessed 3%, then you're correct. Congratulations, but boo-hoo to the Philippines, because we lost most of our rainforest, and we have underestimated the effects of the death of our forest, right? And I'd like to show you how that affects us. Yeah, so hopefully this short video gives you insight into how deforestation really affects us and our soils, floods, landslides, right? But apart from that, it also gets a lot hotter, right? In this photo, without the trees, a street can be up to 33 degrees Celsius hotter. That's a lot, right? And around the world, drought and extreme heat are killing crops. Smallholder farmers are having a hard time because the lack of the forest destroys the microclimate or the regular rain showers that we enjoy, right? It's not just in the Philippines, again, it's all over the world, right? But specifically in the Philippines, these two rivers have recorded, sorry, not 70, but they've only recorded 30% of the original water level they had versus 30 years ago, right? So that's a scary number, right? And for our country, and a lot of the developing island nations can relate to this, and coastal nations like coastal cities like Miami or New York, we are vulnerable to climate change. And one of the suggested solutions is very simple, something everyone can do, which is planting trillions of trees, right? And so what we did in Zambales was we worked with a community there, the Yangil community in San Felipe, and we started tours, right? And we said the tours will allow people to visit and ideally plant in the barren ancestral domain, right? So the tour featured the carabao ride, archery, featured dancing, some herbal medicine lessons, and it also featured food from the community, right? And as planting as much as you want, right? If it was rainy season, then you could plant some trees and seedlings. If it was dry season, then you'd have to do tree nursery work, right? So that was how we pushed it forward. Now, one thing that I'll never forget was the chieftain in this community who was supposed to earn from the money from the tourism. I went up to him after our first successful tour and I told him, Chief, here's the cash. You earned it, and we're very happy to be working with you as partners because you are so that you can end your own poverty by through dignified work in tourism. And then he said, I don't want the money. So this surprised us, and we asked, so what do you want? Because we are giving you money because you worked for it, right? And in my head, they needed it. They didn't have electricity. They didn't have running water. Most of their kids had finished only 6th grade in primary school or grade school. So obviously, you want to help these people. And if there's a job where they can earn regularly, that would be best. But here was this chieftain saying, okay, thank you for the job, but don't pay me. And I'm like, why? And he said, look at our ancestral domain. It is 3,000 hectares large, but it's empty. If you give me money, I might spend it on cell phone credits. I might spend it on 3-in-1 coffee, or I might spend it on cigarettes, and no one's going to benefit from that in the long run. So we asked, so what do you want? And then he said, well, if you're coming back, bring us seeds, because even if someone steals the seeds, the thief will plant the seeds in the soil and my kids and grandkids can benefit from that. Right? And so, yeah, it's been a while since this particular moment. And so I want to share with you some results that we've had learning from this particular moment in time, the lesson from a very sustainably minded and long-term thinking indigenous chieftain.
If people do things right, then they can generate profit and they can take care of the planet. Here's what's happened in the last 5 years. And so in all these examples, they just started with seeds. Seeds that were harvested from someone's garden or seeds that were harvested from somebody's dining table. And that's what we're going to do today.
Yep. So really the lesson that we're trying to share is you can do something and you don't really need money to do it. There's no excuse. We just asked for seeds from people, or we picked up seeds randomly on the road. And this is so that we can empower the people in the countryside to take care of the planet, which takes care of us, right? COVID has been very tough on communities. And one of the things that was really, I guess, that really became more difficult was connectivity, right? How do we communicate with these people online, right? They need to participate, especially if you can't do any if you can't do any tourism. So what we did is we tried our best to find gadgets for them, right? And quick question: how many students, farmers, tour guides will not be able to go online on their own? Is it 100,000 in the Philippines, 1 million people in the Philippines, or over 2.8 million in the Philippines? Right? If you've guessed over 2.8 million, that is correct. That is a severely understated number. Citizens in the country who need internet but cannot access it. That's crazy. And it shouldn't be the case. And so we have to do something about it, right? So what we did in this photo, we asked for secondhand pre-loved devices, right? If you're upgrading your phone, if you're upgrading your laptop, instead of throwing it away, maybe you can send it over to our office. And we have British School Manila who is happy to refurbish the laptops to the best of their ability so that we can send it to the community and the community can benefit from it. So we did our first run last year. In this photo, we're teaching some of the kids of the family on how to start it up, close it, open Microsoft Word, Excel. Some of them knew how, the others did not. So it was just good to have that session. And in the last year, one of them suddenly jumped from a bottom, very low grades to a top 10 student in his school. So it's great, right? You just really need to give them that opportunity and they can be empowered through tech. And so as stores have just recently opened, we have spent the last couple of years, couple of months working with them as online teachers over Zoom. So here's a quick snippet.
Halimbawa, pupunta ako sa isang guba, sa gubat, susuot ako sa kagubatan. Ang hinihingi ko sa kay Apo Bubot o doon sa pinapaniwalaan namin ng spirits na gabayan.
Yeah, so it's fun. These are there's an Aita elder here. She's now the acting chieftain of the tribe, and one of the other their best in class tour guide in the tribe. They're teaching kids about the stories and culture. Rather than the kids read it, they get to talk to someone who lives it, right? And that's been very powerful. And coming from that, we said, hey, we have to take this a step further. So what we've done is we started filming them to create some pre-recorded content. Right?
Buhay ko araw-araw. Kasabay ng buhay ko sa araw-araw sa gubat. Gusto ko ring matuto kung ano yung buhay sa labas. Pero naniniwala ako na kung saan mahalaga pa rin pala.
Yeah, so that we can reach more people with them, right? And this is a partnership where they can earn as well as teachers and as the talents. Right?
Hi guys.
And so that allowed us to make a very interesting online program, which is now available for students around the world, which teaches them about the concepts of development, of sustainability, and of the environment in general, right? Social entrepreneurship and sustainability. Here's our teaser. Here's our sample video so that you can go on an online adventure, have fun, and learn.
Hi guys, my name is Raf. I'm going to take you on a journey to discover my life as a social entrepreneur. You ready for a hike? Hi, hello! Oi, Ready? away. So this valley wasn't always the way it looks today. About 30 years ago, this valley was filled with rice fields and cotton fields. We had a regularly flowing river, lots of trees. But deforestation and eventually the explosion of Mount Pinatubo destroyed the entire ecosystem. In fact, when the volcano erupted, it buried everything here in 50 feet or 17 meters of ash, which basically hit the reset button into society. And that really resulted in the community here being left behind technologically, food security-wise, and even forgetting parts of their culture.
Gusto ko po na maibalik yung kagubatan at andyan ang kabuhayan ng mga katutubo. Kung walang kagubatan, wala din ang kabuhayan ng mga katutubo. Doon nang gagaling yung tubig sa tinatawag ng water seed. Pati yung tao, buhay din. Kasi nandoon na yung pwede nilang pakinabangan eh.
So it's time for me to tell you what our social enterprise is. It's called Make a Difference Travel, or MAD Travel. We work with communities in urban and rural areas to help out in restoring their natural ecosystem, or the forest. So when we came here and saw how terrible the environmental situation was, we really wanted to create change, wanted to help, wanted to plant a lot of trees, but we were very disconnected from the community. I remember one time we gave them free trees and asked them to plant, and they asked us to pay them to plant the trees in the area. They said that if we spent time planting today, then we wouldn't have time to earn money to feed our families for tomorrow. That really brought about the insight that the poverty of the environment is also the poverty of the people, because you could see that they were so poor they couldn't invest in the environment. And so after seeing the poverty of the environment here and seeing how poor some of the people were, no jobs in the area, inability to farm, it really challenged us. Like, what could we do? How do we give something to the community while giving something to the environment? And help them realize that if the environment grew richer, then so would they as farmers who need water, need shade, need the biodiversity in the area to create food for themselves.
Yeah, so we've set up an online courses which hopefully can engage students in a different way, do it a little more interactively, because they can click through the different options, like watching Bandersnatch on Netflix, and really learn something interesting, right? And then when travel resumes, they can meet the people, or at least not in person, or do it on Zoom. And yeah, we are looking for a way to scale this, looking for investment on this particular platform. So just to circle back, we've talked about a lot of things about plastic, about solutions in which you can use products that reduce it. We've talked about reforestation and the agroforestry products and tourism and educational programs that hopefully support the community with livelihood, and we'll also plant trees. I forgot to mention that every student that studies this, they also by default get to plant trees, right? It's something that is we're very, very happy about. So earlier it was just a profit story for myself, but in reality it is a people, planet, profit story, right? And to take care of the planet, we must also take care of the people, and that means adding science and a value system to people. It means really engaging others in creative action, right? So everyone's action, no matter how small, adds up. every individual seed counts. At the start, we didn't have much, but today it's something better, and your action counts a lot, right? And so please help us reforest 4,000 hectares. There's 3,000 in Zambales, and there's 1,000 in Rizal that we're trying to work on. Help us raise pre-love technology for deserving tour guides, farmers, public school teachers. They need it, right? And this can be your cell phone, your smartphone, or a laptop, right? And again, entrepreneurship has an important role to play, and it's way beyond money. Your career has the same role, and I hope that this presentation has just planted a bit of a seed in your head on how you or your friends and family can create impact in other people's lives, right? Just a quick plug. I'm looking for a city or a town that would like to grow a very beautiful forest park. We can help with funding it, and we can also help with designing it, because we want to ensure that there are more parks that grow around the Philippines. So if you know anyone, please send them our way, right? And here are just some suggestions on how you can act, right? Buy a tree. We do have a sponsor a tree program on our website, madmarket.co. Reduce your plastic trash, support community products, right? You can buy some for honey, or donate or sponsor a laptop or cell phone. Help us talk to the local government that you may know already. There's so many ways, so many solutions. So let's get working on it. Thank you. And these are just some, I'm sharing with you the socials that I'm connected with in case you want to collaborate and work together. I hope we do. Thank you very much, ICCPH team, for organizing this. And to everyone, have a good afternoon.